Okay. Hey, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of the Daily Coaching Session. I'm Manny Garavito. This is a show on behalf of MiamiNetworking.com where I go live and talk to the local online business entrepreneurs or those that would like to be one. I share with you some of the things that I've learned over the years starting online businesses, not only for myself, but for clients as well. I do freelance marketing in case you don't know. And the journey of being a freelance marketer, I admit the best payoff is having the freedom of doing work when you want to work, picking up projects that you want to pick up. I love that. You only work when you work. I mean, sometimes necessity makes you take on more work than you should. However, it's good to be in a position where the lifestyle is in your hands. The lifestyle that you want, the lifestyle that you're developing is under your direct control. And sometimes you've got to do online business to achieve that kind of lifestyle. Now, why online business? In my experience, an online business can be very optimized, not only because of the tools that are available to automate and measure what works and what doesn't, but also because you're able to communicate in scale. So, for example, I'm live in 8 different channels right now. 3 in Facebook, including 2 groups, YouTube, Instagram, my personal Twitter, and the Twitter of this networking site, all in one. So I'm communicating at scale. And if I wanted to take it further and use something that's more in paid advertisement, I could use the Facebook ad services. What's up, John? And the Facebook ad services, what they do is they push your message specifically targeted to the people that you are seeking. And that's a tool that amplifies your communication in mass, because if you've ever used Facebook Business and you've ever targeted someone, well, not someone in particular, a group of people to find someone that's a potential client, you can put things like age, location, interests. You can even schedule and budget your advertising dollars based on what you put in the system. Now, this kind of advertising has never been available before. You buy a billboard and it's on display 24/7 in the middle of the night, when if you're targeting someone that's working a 9-to-5 job, probably won't see, but you still paid for it. However, now you can customize it where you only pay for the time it's available. So that's what I mean. An online business, particularly doing entrepreneurship online, allows you to get this kind of freedom because you're able to kind of find those little details of what you would rather put your dollars on instead of just hoping you get a client by doing mass communications and PR. Hey, Georgie, nice jacket. Thank you. So what I want to point out here, maybe self-conscious, maybe realize my collar ain't right, John. There we go. Much better. Hey, Georgie, we're here talking about the lifestyle that you can get by starting an online business. Another way to automate your business, and this is something that I'll make the main topic, is how to position your business. So let's say, for example, you are a branded business where a lot of people know who you are and the solutions you provide and where to find you. You're easily accessible. People can look you up. You're valid. Business just comes to you by branding yourself as such. However, to properly brand a business, when you think of companies like Coca-Cola and McDonald's and Burger King and, Nike, they've been branding themselves over the last few decades, and they put in millions and millions of dollars to get to that position, hence the word position. And now they just keep getting this continuation of clients or customers, and they all know what to do. All the brands that I named, you know what they do, you know a history of them, Ronald McDonald. As a matter of fact, I saw on the Netflix documentary History 101 that 96% of the children in America recognized Ronald McDonald. It's the second most recognizable children's icon next to Santa Claus. Now, that's fascinating. Now, that's branding. So how do you brand a business if you're not fully established yet, if you don't have millions and millions of dollars and you haven't been in business for 3, 4, 5 decades? Well, there's a book that I highly recommend if you guys are interested in learning this kind of stuff. It's called Positioning by Al Ries and Jack Trout. Now, the people that I learned from have always recommended this book for me. And when I read it, I understand. It's an easy read. It's not too difficult. It's a fairly small book and it's very comprehensible. And I believe Al Ries and Jack Trout have written way more marketing books than just this one. And the subtitle for this is called The Battle of Your Mind, which is properly subtitled. And the reason why it's the battle of the mind is because if you want to surpass the competition, if you want to be known for what it is that you do without having to spend, again, lots of time and money, you have to know how to position your business. And one of the things I'd like to add in this book that they haven't mentioned is alignment. You want to align your message where it all comes together to make a concept in the mind of your prospective customer. So in this book, they explain that everyone has these ladders in their head, and depending on where you are and your branding and your message, you take a rung in that ladder. So if you don't stand out from all the other realtors that are out here in Miami, you're just another realtor. If you don't stand out from all the other online marketers here in Miami, you're just another person offering digital marketing services. And how do you align your message so you can stand out from the rest? Well, it takes multiple things. I mean, there's not enough time to mention them all. But what I'm trying to show you here is you've got to take various concepts and piece them all together so that everybody can know exactly what you do with the least amount of investment possible. And by investment, I mean time and money. So for example, the name of your business, and this is probably one of the most important ones, the name of your business has to represent the solution that you offer. So sometimes, if I was a realtor, it'd be Manny Garavito Realtor, Manny Garavito Accountant. That's an example. However, if you're going more into making a name for a business, you might want to call yourself MiamiNetworking.com, MiamiNetworkingOnline.com, right? You already know what the business is about just by the name alone. You already know what its functions. You can extrapolate the information by the title alone. And a lot of people, sometimes what they do is they would rather put themselves in the billboard or put themselves or name the business in a particular way that only makes sense to them. I'll give you guys an example. So my first business was a podcast. This was my early 20s, so don't judge me too much here. And in my early 20s, the first business I ever started was called the Brick Wall Sessions Comedy Productions. And it still is called that way, but I'm doing DBAs deriving from that name. So Brick Wall Sessions, the idea in my head was, a brick wall comedy sessions. You go up and you have a session doing jokes. But it wasn't branded well, where people heard the name and they knew it was a fancy way to say stand-up comedy. And I was so new to marketing at the time when I came up with that it was kind of more like a personal title than something that my potential customers can recognize. And what I did was I started MiamiComedy.com, and I bought the URL. And then what I did was I did a DBA to operate under Miami Comedy. And ever since I started using the title Miami Comedy, people have been recognizing me as the guy that does Miami Comedy shows. So that's a great example of positioning. And as a matter of fact, the reason why I did that business move was because of this book. If it wasn't for this book, I would probably still be called Brick Wall Sessions Comedy Productions. And yeah, this book is an absolute great read, and it'll open your mind to the possibilities of where you can take your business just by communicating, just by marketing, just by finding out different ways to get your messages aligned to the right people. And sometimes you may not be in the first place, and you may want to capitalize on that. I believe they give an example of Avis being the second best car rental center. Is it Avis? Yeah, I think so. Let's just say it's Avis. And they say in their advertisements that you should go with Avis because we're the second best rental car company And the reason why you should choose them is because they're going to work harder than the first. You see how they use the opportunity of them being in the second place to show the benefits of not going with the first place. So I thought that was a brilliant example of how positioning works in all its ways. I mean, again, there's many ways to position a business, and it's pretty much kind of like mental warfare, but in marketing, but in social media, but in your email newsletters, but in your website. And the more better you are at explaining these things in the most subtle ways, the better you're going to be at positioning your business. So definitely check out this book, Positioning, Al Ries and Jack Trout. It's an absolute game changer. I'd like to give you another example of positioning, but it won't be in the realm of business, but it's a great example. I was in Cleveland in the middle of last year, and there was a museum in Cleveland that was showcasing the work of Michelangelo, the painter. And Michelangelo, of course, as you know, did the Sistine Chapel, and he did a lot of work behind the scenes by observing people and then practicing how to define muscles of the human body on an art medium. And he practiced that for hours on end, over and over and over. And that's why his work is so recognizable. It's recognizable to the point that anybody can say anybody that's an art aficionado can say that's the work of Michelangelo. There's a resemblance. And, in the years after Michelangelo, and maybe even during, I'm not sure. I mean, there was a lot of exhibitions there, but one of the exhibitions that was available to view were the people that copied Michelangelo's work or tried to beat him in doing a better job. And two cases of people that I remember reading off of the museum were, the first one was somebody that tried to outdo Michelangelo by painting the Adam and Eve painting that he made and making it much more detailed, and it's got like this frame on it, and the trees have more design, and the animals are in better poses, and the snake was like a lot more like it was kind of hard to explain, but the best way I can explain it is that there was more detail involved in making the work better than Michelangelo. So whoever this artist was got Michelangelo's work and then try to outdo him by adding more. Okay. And it was it was done on purpose, and he wanted to be known as someone that did copy Michelangelo, but he wanted to outdo him. But the critics said that it was too much. It was overkill. There wasn't the simple beauty that Michelangelo's work had in comparison. The guy was trying too hard, or trying too hard to impress others, or instead of focusing on beating Michelangelo in his own work, he should focus on making his own work, as an example. And when I read that, I was astounded to see that Michelangelo has positioned himself as an artist in the minds of the critics of the time to say these things about this particular person's attempt at beating Michelangelo in his work. Excuse me. The second example, or the second case, was someone that tried to get a particular pose from Michelangelo's work and then take that pose and then do it in another art piece. But it wasn't anywhere near the proficiency that Michelangelo developed by looking at people on a daily basis and drawing the muscles and the details. So this person, you can tell it was kind of amateurish. And you can tell that it was copied from Michelangelo, but the skill wasn't there. And because Michelangelo was so well known for that pose and for that style and for drawing those particular body parts, they shunned this person's work, even though he also tried to copy Michelangelo. So you got one case that says the person was trying too hard, and then you got another case that says this person is nowhere near as good as Michelangelo's work. Now that is positioning at its finest, where you gain the position in the minds of the people that know about your work, so that when anyone else comes in, there's no room for them in their minds because of your ability to position your work of art, because a business is a work of art. Okay, that is it for today's coaching session. Thank you very much for your time, everybody. Whether you're watching live or you're watching the recording, I'm available for online business coaching. Whether you want to start one or you want to grow one, I can help you with your social media, your websites, automation, finding all the functions you need to make sure that you can find your prospective customers, no matter what industry you're in. And I can assure you that your industry will be changed by online trends. Okay, so if you want to be ahead, make sure that you get that online business rolling, and I'd be more than happy to help you set that up. I'll see you tomorrow, 5 p.m. Have a great evening, everybody. Goodbye.